Is it time to reduce restrictions and open up in the coming weeks, given where we are? Let us know what you think. And for more on whether or not we should, I suppose, ease restrictions, I am joined now by Jack Lambert, who is a professor of infectious diseases from the School of Medicine in UCD. Jack, you've heard what Jonathan and I were saying. I feel that we are coming to the end of the pandemic. It's not over. I'm not suggesting that it is, but I think we can start to talk about easing restrictions. You are at the coalface. You are an expert in this field. What do you think?
Yeah, well, look, 6 months ago, I wrote a position paper on 10 steps to living with COVID, okay, as opposed to eliminating COVID from the island of Ireland. And we know that's not achievable. This is going to be an annual pandemic similar to influenza. Maybe we can cross our fingers and hope that this virus will just disappear, but it's very unlikely. And we're now in a different place than we were, absolutely, like you said, March 2020. So we need context now. We don't need to be looking at numbers. The numbers are up, the ICUs are going to become overwhelmed. This is the rhetoric that people have been hearing for, over the last 18 months. And it's the wrong message. The message is, how do we live safely with COVID? And it is a hugely transmissible virus, and even though the numbers are down, if I personally caught COVID and infected an immunocompromised person and they ended up in the hospital dying, it's not about numbers anymore, it's about every life counts. So what can we do to kind of save our lives, just psychologically, economically, and how can we make sure we're not putting the rest of Irish society at risk by infecting them with COVID? Because we still are going to have a risk despite vaccination of transmitting COVID. But context is important. Vaccines, great that we're up in the numbers. We're going to have to do booster vaccinations in the future. We're going to have to look where we've missed vaccination in people who are, within Ireland. And we need to look at what we can do to safely move back into the workforce, safely move back into the community. And we should have done that months ago, in my opinion. We keep on kind of delaying, saying, what if the numbers are...
Is this because we're chasing some elusive... And I did have a different professor on last week, and he was talking about herd immunity, and I put it to them that I don't see herd immunity happening because of waning, I suppose, immunity post-vaccination and rapid variants emerging. I think it is exactly as you say, going to be the flu. We're going to be kind of dealing with this going forward on an ongoing basis in an endemic way for the probably rest of our lives.
Yeah, it could be, and then which says to you, let's just start planning for booster vaccinations. Let's start planning for modifications of our lifestyle. Safe environments. A lot of the facilities we have are not ventilated properly, from schools to pubs. And then people continue to let their guard down. You know this. People, in terms of hand washing, face masks, and
obviously we have to keep that going, Jack. But do you think that we can reduce? I mean, they're doing it in the UK, and they're pretty gung ho about continuing to do so in the UK. Do you think it's time for us to ease restrictions here?
Absolutely. I do think it's time. I think it's time for all sorts of reasons, including it's going to be if we do it properly, it's safe to do, and then it's important to do because the collateral damage from COVID, we all know this, is huge. I mean, we give numbers of ICUs with COVID. What about the numbers of ICUs with people with attempted suicides, people with all sorts of things that have happened because of COVID? We're not kind of taking into account those kind of things, the economic, consequences. So yes, we have to start easing restrictions. I think it's the right thing to do, and I think if you look at the rest of the world, there's evidence that we can do it safely.
All right, look, thank you very much for speaking to us this morning. That is Professor Jack Lambert, Professor of Infectious Diseases at the School of Medicine in UCD.